Hello, it's Lockster here from Lockster Reads. I'm doing the mid-year book freakout tag 2025. This is the first one of these I've done because my channel didn't start until last November. Um, there's some sort of odd gaps here because of just the nature of the reading I've done this year. So, um, first of all, best book I've read so far. Um, I would say fiction is Augustus by John Williams. Which I thought was amazing and will make a really good pairing, sort of reading double bill with I Claudius. Um, Non-fiction, I put two together. I put Bury the Chains by Adam Hochschild and Jane Austen's Bookshelf by Rebecca Romney. Um, the best sequel, I haven't really read any sequels. I did read, so I'm going to say No Fond Return of Love by Barbara Pym, which isn't really a sequel, but is a Barbara Pym book in my Barbara Pym reading project, so I'm going to count that. So I'd say No Fond Return of Love by Barbara Pym. New release you haven't read but you want to is I should have prepared this, but these are how things. Adrian Tchaikovsky Service Model. I've had this for ages. Should have read it by now. Haven't got around to it. Will do soon. Um, my most anticipated release for the second half of the year. That is Seriously Silly: The Life of Terry Jones by Robert Ross. I am of the age where the Monty Python's Flying Circus had a distinct impact on me. I've and their films and their side projects. And Terry Jones is also wrote some great history books. So I'm really looking forward to that. I've read a Robert Ross book before. I can't remember which one, and I think his writing's very good. So I'm really looking forward to that. Biggest disappointment has to be, and it's more me than the author, but it has to be Voyage of the Beagle by Charles Darwin. Um, Partly because I think it's one of the worst Penguin classics I've ever read in terms of lack of notes, lack of information. Um, but I think to really appreciate Voyage of the Beagle, you need a big annotated, illustrated edition. I think the Penguin Classic is Penguin need to review that edition and give it a good kicking. So yeah, that has to be the biggest disappointment. Biggest surprise, I didn't really have any big surprises. Um, I suppose the way the Merceau investigation repositions The Stranger uh, by Camus. If you read both books, it's a bit like if you read Wide Sargasso Sea and Jane Eyre. The two books have a conversation with each other that changes your view of the first book. Um, so yeah, I would. That's probably my only answer to that. My favourite new author, Adam Hochschild. Um, he seems to specialise in writing history books about really difficult, dark areas of history. I have a couple of his other books I've read now. I've read Bury the Chains, which I would recommend to everybody. It's probably one of my favourite non-fiction books of all time at this point. Um, I I would say Adam Hochschild's newest fictional crush. I don't really have a fictional crush. My fictional crush is and always it will be Harriet Vane from Dorothy L. Sayers' Lord Peter Wimsey novels, um, particularly as played by Harriet Walter. Um, yeah, Strong Poison onwards. That's my fictional crush. Probably always be my fictional crush. Um, Newest favorite character. I'm sorry, I don't really have one. I think it's partly because I haven't really read a lot of fiction. I will shout out Thomas Clark, uh, a real historical figure in Bury the Chains, who deserves more credit than I believe he's been given up until this point. Um, he sort of stands in the shadow of William Wilberforce. But yeah, I haven't got an answer to that question really. Books that made you cry. Bury the Trains made me cry. It's a hard book to read, but it made me cry happy, and it made me cry sad and happy. Well, happy is not the right word, but there's moments towards the end which are really moving. I cry at the drop of a hat now. I think it's an age thing. The older you get, I think the more open to bursting into tears at a moment with a drop of a hat is a thing. So yeah, books that made you happy. Everything by Barbara Pym and about Barbara Pym. I can't recommend Barbara Pym enough. I think everybody should read Barbara Pym. If you like Jane Austen, you should read Barbara Pym. And if you like, just read Barbara Pym. Most beautiful book you've bought and you've been given. I was thinking about this phrase. This one was a struggle, and then I remembered that a friend's father had gifted me this, The Living Rulers of Mankind, which was published in 1902 and written by, and he's a great name, the Reverend H.N. Hutchinson, BAFGS FRGS. It's this big boy, and it covers a lot of the world, and it is, as it says, really well illustrated. So if we pick a chapter, yeah, I mean you can see some of the pictures as we go. This is Afghanistan. It's also full of countries that don't exist anymore. Austria-Hungary. Let's flick a bit further in. Your inclination would be to say that this is India, but this is actually Great Britain because it's 1902. Honduras and Haiti. I wanted to find a colour, and there's some colour pictures. I'm sure there were some colour pictures in here. Spain, Serbia, spelled Servia. Russia, so obviously before the Soviet Union, before the revolution. So, yeah, this would have to be my pick. I'm flicking through it now. It includes the papacy as well. I forgot about that. Portugal, Persia, the Netherlands, Morocco, Monaco, Mexico, Korea. It's great. Japan. I mean, it's great, and it's one of those old collectible books that I would never have probably bought myself, but was it because it's a gift? I have to say this one. And books you need to read by the end of the year, all of them. There's a lot in this room that I haven't got around to reading. More Barbara Pym, more Agent Tchaikovsky, and more of the authors on my project list. I'm going to try and focus the second half of the year on those projects. I am thinking of doing a process which another channel, a Warhammer painting channel called Hammer the Backlog, does, which involves sort of project management systems, quarterly targets, etc. Which sounds a bit like not what you should be doing for reading, but actually it kind of appeals to a certain streak in me. So I'm thinking of, it's going to be called Hammer the Backlist. I spoke to Mike at Hammer the Backlog about it, and he's fine. I'm not going to change the name of the channel to that because that would be taking the piss, I think, a bit. But yeah, so I need to just think about. I'm actually currently working on how I'm going to do it. I would like to do it like for a whole year, but starting at the beginning of a year. So I think I'll do a sort of temporary version of it for the last half of this year. I'm going to spend some of the weekend working out a plan. I'll put a video up about that next week. But that's it. I can keep this under 10 minutes if I'm quick. Enjoy the end of the week, which is too hot if you're in London. But I hate heat, and I know it's a miserable thing to say. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. Like, comment, subscribe, etc., etc. Have a good one. Bye.